Hi everyone, welcome to day one of this second week of our journey through the theme of spirituality in John's Gospel. And today we're going to look at one of the great healing stories, the story of the paralysed man at the pool of Bethesda in John chapter 5. This is a little bit about how the story goes. Sometime later, Jesus went up to Jerusalem for one of the Jewish festivals. Now there was in Jerusalem near the sheep gate a pool which in Aramaic is called Bethesda, and which is surrounded by 5 covered colonnades. Here a great number of disabled people used to sit and lie, the blind, the lame and the paralysed. One who was there had been an invalid for 38 years. When Jesus saw the man lying there and learned that he had been in this condition for such a long time, he said to him, "Do you want to get well?" "Sir," the invalid replied, "I have no one to help me into the pool when the water is stirred. While I'm trying to get in, someone else goes down ahead of me." Then Jesus said to the man, "Get up, pick up your mat and walk." Well, at once the man was cured, and he picked up his mat and walked. The day on which this took place was a Sabbath. And so the Jewish leaders said to the man who had been healed, "It is the Sabbath, and the law forbids you to carry your mat." But he replied, "Well, the man who made me well said to me, 'Pick up your mat and walk.'" So they asked him again, "Who is this fellow who told you to pick up your mat and walk?" The man who was healed had no idea who it was, for Jesus had slipped away into the crowd. As I say, this is one of the great healing stories in the Gospel of John. And in many ways, it can be seen about the man being made well. But what about this Sabbath time? Well, we've been looking at how the person of Jesus is, in Christian spirituality, the meeting place between heaven and earth. And I find it very interesting that this story takes place at the Pool of Bethesda, which is literally right across the street from the great Temple Mount. Jesus, in that sense, is the new temple, the new meeting place between heaven and earth. But what about this Sabbath time? Well, historically, the Sabbath was a time of rest. The 7th day in the story of creation, God rested. Therefore, people were meant to rest on the Sabbath. And there were all these rules and regulations about what you couldn't do, including doing work, and hence the Jewish leaders' objection to this man picking up his mat and walk. And without meaning to, over time, we can have done the same with our understanding of Sunday. It becomes about making sure we get everything right, doing everything in the way that it should be done. Jesus takes all this and takes it then on to another level. And he does that by discovering that really Sabbath is not just about something we are set free from, as in we're free from the rest of the week to be able to go to church or to focus on God. It's a freedom to engage with God. Sabbath time is that time where we look to meet with God. And for me, I can remember that so vividly on the beach in Brittany with my family, when it would be a sunset or whatever. And we would get these chips and mayonnaise from a little outlet and just sit on the beach at the end of a day for an hour or so. And it was like time stood still, and I was there with my family, I was there with creation and hearing the roar of the waves over the stones, and I was so close to God. This, in that sense, is Sabbath time, whether that's on a Sunday or a Monday or a Wednesday. And it can be the same in our journey of faith. When we find those moments, we draw close to God. Some people describe to me that communion can be like that. Again, whether it's on a Sunday or a Wednesday or whenever, it's that closeness as if earth and heaven touch. And do we look for these Sabbath moments? And are we willing to reach out for them? Interestingly, Jesus said to the man, "Do you want to get well?" So often what can happen in church, just like in the rest of society, we can look to find God just in these colours of the rainbow, the colours of the rainbow we like or that we know well, and not realise that he's in all the colours of the rainbow, reaching out to everyone, including us, and indeed encouraging us to look beyond just our likes or dislikes and find him in the new and in the also the familiar. I had an experience of that only yesterday. Somebody texted me later on yesterday evening when they said they listened to that song by Tori Kelly that we played yesterday, and they found it really moving, and in fact they then recommended another song that they found just as powerful to them, and I hadn't heard that before. And it's not just a case of this person liking modern music where perhaps I may have thought they liked traditional music. It's a case of even those understandings disappear because they had obviously found a space where they'd met with God and they were trying to share that with me, which encourages me then to try and find that space. And it can be in modern music, but it can just as much be in classical music. God's in all music. This is the thing. And God's in all life and all creation, not just in a church on a Sunday. This brings new life and new creation. Have a good rest of the day. God bless.